You're listening to Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the official podcast of Lingerie Fighting Championships. And now, here's your host, Michael Latkin.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the official LFC Lingerie Fighting Championships podcast. My name is Mike Larkin, and joining me today is the notorious angel, Miss Amber Joe. Amber, it's a pleasure and a privilege to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. I will say this first and foremost, LFC provides a lot of great tournaments with the LFC Madness. It's a virtual tournament for everybody to check out great talents like yourself and have a chance to compete at an LFC pay-per-view. You were in this last one, LFC Madness 4. So I'm curious, with a promotion like Lingerie Fighting Championships, that's about a little bit of MMA, a little bit of wrestling, and a little bit of clothing, incorporating that sex appeal mixed with a lot of combative natures and different art forms. How did you gravitate towards LFC, and what made you want to get into this tournament? How did everything come into fruition for you?
It's it was a mad one. Like they approached me and they was like, "Oh, we'd love to have you, like here." And I was like, "Oh, I was at first. Do I have to wear like next to nothing because I don't feel comfortable?" They was like, "No, you can wear what you want."
Right.
And I was like, "Well, there you go." And it was like, "Well, obviously there's rounds. It's online. You get the chance to win like a $3,000 pair of earrings, and also, the chance to fly out to America, which I'm doing anyway, not for LFC." So I was like, yeah, I mean, I was like, bit of fun. I'm not going to make it till I'm not even going to make it past the first round.
Here's what's funny about it, and here's what I love. First and foremost, we have a lot of diversity and a lot of people that got involved with this tournament. You were one of three who was of the trans women that were involved in it, from Stacey Sadistic and Sarah Sterling, and now you, Miss Amber Joe. You got halfway there. You got to round two, so I got to say, you didn't do half bad for yourself in the tournament.
I was very surprised.
I mean, I look at it from a stance too as well. We have so many different people. We were talking about the diversity and stuff. That's what needs to happen, not just in professional wrestling and life, because we have that equality factor and we get to see such great talents as yourself. So we're making moves slowly as people and as far as the sports go as well. So we're getting there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, of course. I 100% agree.
And I look at it from a stance too as well. When we see companies like Lingerie Fighting Championship and we see pro wrestling, and I think what I love about it too is we mentioned the sex appeal side of things. We have such empowering women such as yourself and so many people. It's great to see everybody just being more at the forefront. We get to see the evolution and revolution, how pro wrestling is going towards the future.
Yeah.
And I mean, for you, it's one of those things where you look at the United Kingdom, so many great promotions, and we got to talk about Rev Pro with you here, because I remember with Revolutionary Pro, and it was from Vader and Will Ospreay, which led to that Twitter feud, and so many people coming from the UK. I wanted to ask you about Rev Pro. How did that come into fruition? How'd you gravitate towards Rev Pro? Because it's one of the premier promotions in the UK.
I mean, I'm no longer with them. I am looking to head back to go and train with them.
Right.
Just other things happened which led me to leave.
Right.
And then they kind of, like, the people that was involved in the reasons why I left no longer going.
Right.
So, I was like, okay, well, I can go back. But I just was like, oh, I want to be a professional wrestler. And I went out for a friend's birthday. Me and a friend bumped into two of their trainees, and, we were just talking wrestling. And then it just went from there. Like, we turned up, and before you know it, I was the very first openly transgender woman to wrestle for Rev Pro. Like, it was fantastic. Not a bad word to say about any of the coaches, especially the head promoter, Andy Quilden. Not a bad thing to say about him, and not a bad thing to say about Dan McGee, and also Joel Redmond, formerly known as Oliver Gray. is one of the coaches there.
I will say this, when it comes to people, and I'm glad that you brought a name like Oliver Gray, former tag team partner with Neville in NXT, which, by the way, if anybody's never checked out that theme song, Left with Tomorrow, Faceless, my God, they had a banger back in the day with that theme. But looking from Oliver Gray and Neville just to see their trajectory from professional wrestling, Neville doing his thing now as Pac and AEW, both have been around the world and both have really done their things. And that's a great learning tree right there.
It was great. I do miss learning from Joe. He taught me a lot of tech, which is something that I love to do. I'm not just power, I'm a very technical wrestler. You don't really see that much in the women anymore. So I was like, I'm good at tech, so let's narrow that down. I'm now training with Quality Wrestling, with Rishi and Raj Ghosh. Rishi was actually in the film Fighting with My Family.
Yes. Now, I'm going to say this right now, and we got to talk about Fighting with My Family. It's one of those movies, like we see people like Paige and we see the Knight family. It's one of those things that it's very inspiring for a lot of talents to get into professional wrestling, especially in the UK. If you see a star like Paige who made it, and her mother, Soraya, it's great to see and know that, that we have films like that that really showcase professional wrestling. And I think it's one of those ones that a lot of people can adhere to from inspiration and really an empowerment for women such as yourself to get into professional wrestling.
Yeah. I've spoken to Soraya, Julia, and she's absolutely really nice and really down to earth. I've actually not long ago, I did a training seminar with Zach Knight. I was literally Paige's brother, so I trained with Zach Zodiac, which was absolutely amazing, just to get his feedback and, to pick his brain and his knowledge. It's very different, I've noticed, because I've trained with several different people now, and not every coach or every training session that you're going to go to is the same. People have their own techniques, and it's just kind of like finding what's best to work for you. I loved training with them. I loved the Knights, and I have big ambitions to go and wrestle for WAW.
Here's my thing, and what I love about you too is what you brought up that's so apparent, and a lot of people need to adhere to these words. When you're training and going from different schools, you have to find the right school. And I always say that because it's one of the things where if you're going to some, I'll say rinky-dink, if you will, school, you know what I'm saying? You have to have the proper training. And me, as someone in the States, and we're going to talk about the States here because I'm very excited for you, but you look at people like from the NYWC, which is a promotional Long Island, New York wrestling connection, where people like Brian Myers and Matt Cardona came from, and Mike Mondo, who've gone on to WWE. There's so many places from the Northeast, the New England area, on the West Coast, what have you. You have to find that school, and there's such a plethora over in the UK now. So it's wonderful to see people going to the right schools. That's because that's so important, and a lot of people kind of forget that.
Yep. So I'm in New England, actually.
Nice. Okay. All right.
I'm going to be.
All right. Now, here's the thing. For me with New England, I always think of like New England Championship Wrestling, which gave us people like Alicia Edwards, Eddie Edwards' wife, and so many great people like that. So for you, coming to the States, coming all the way from the UK, how excited are you? Because you're making your US debut, and you got to be feeling good because, like I said, I can't wait to see it.
I'm, excuse my language, but I'm British. I'm fucking shitting Brit.
You curse, it's fine.
So I've never been on a plane. I've never even been on holiday outside of England. And so to have my kind of holiday is my work. So I'm kind of like, I'm kind of like, I want to maybe spend a few days there, just kind of take advantage of it and see what other promotions there are around there that have got shows, that even if I'm not wrestling on, to walk through the door, help out, put the ring up, just general just general locker room etiquette and stuff. And it's kind of pay my dues, get my foot in the door. So I kind of want to take advantage of being out there, and plus, it's America, I'm just absolutely excited, and the fact that I'm going to be wrestling for the very first United States or transgender and non-binary and gender non-conforming wrestling promotion, which is also just amazing.
And what I love about that too is when it comes to women's promotions, and we'll talk about the non-binary as well, here's what's cool about it. So I grew up with Shimmer, which gave us such talents that we've seen, like Bailey, Becky Lynch, and so many great people like that. There's Rise, that was in Chicago. There was Shine, which was in Florida. So there's so many different women's things, and those are like the three integral ones. There's more promotions. We see it in the UK, and now this promotion. What I love about it too is, again, the equality factor, but there's something for everyone. And I look at it from a stance too. Variety is so important in professional wrestling, because if you're just having the standard chocolate and vanilla, you have to have more, and it gives something for everybody, to get into and really sink their teeth into. And I think it's wonderful.
Yeah. Big thanks to Transcripts for, just reaching out to me. And a big thanks to, everyone, really. I'm really excited to be wrestling at Wrestle Queerdom in the New Hampshire Dome, which I've seen it holds at least like 3,000 people. So it's quite a big. A lot of people that I've spoken to from the America, they're like, "Oh, it's not that big. It's not that big," and I'm like, "Girl, it's bigger than anything I've wrestled in the UK. It is big."
I was going to say, normally in the States, you look at something that's 3,000 people will say, and I'll say it, I can attest to it, that it's not that big. For a woman like yourself coming over, this is something that's new, and it's brand new, and something that you're adapting to. It is a big deal. And there's a lot of people that hold 3,000 venues, what have you. If you're holding mass capacity, like that's it right there. You're doing your thing, you made it, and it's a huge opportunity.
It's not just that, there's going to be some really big names at this event. You've got Venny, you've got Mariah Marino, you've got Candy Lee, Edith, you've got Kid Bandit, who I'm excited to meet, because we've been talking online and we're literally just best friends. You have some really big names here, and the fact that I can wrestle any of them is going to be absolutely amazing. And to me, it's kind of like putting my foot in the door to maybe potentially make my way to AEW or Ring of Honor or Impact, or to even have someone from the WWE, maybe just someone that has ties in WWE, see my stuff and be like, "Oh, okay, we need to get this girl in." But I definitely want to be in Impact, Ring of Honor, all these guys, all this. There's so much potential that can come out of this, and I'm nervous and I'm excited, and I just keep talking.
No, first of all, I love your enthusiasm. And this right here, folks, is the work ethic of one Notorious Angel and Joe here, because it's one of those things, too. And this is why I love and respect you. You have that Christmas, and a lot of the wrestlers that you mentioned on the Wrestle Queerdom show, y'all have that Christmas and fluidity like much wrestlers do, and the technicality here. It's one of those things where it's a joy to watch. And I think what you're about in professional wrestling is the representation of your presentation. And you represent yourself well. So, again, it's well-deserved, and I got to give you much kudos, because you're in a mixture, you're in a crew here, but also at the same time, if you could go to an Impact or an AEW and you get to work with some like the Deonna Purrazzo's of the world, the Mercedes Martinez's, that is a huge deal. And Dark and Elevation. Yeah. And you look at the YouTube shows with AEW, you have Dark, you have Elevation. It's opportunity around it. You get your name on that. A lot of people have come from that.
Yeah. Everyone's already said that one of their dream matches that if I'm in the States that people want to see is me versus Jade Cargill.
Ooh. Now,
or even myself versus Jamie Hayter. Now, I know Jamie. You know, I've trained with her once, I believe. I believe she was at Rev Pro training school once. Not entirely sure. Yeah, no, never mind. I'm thinking of Zoe Lucas. But yeah, no. So I know Jamie Hayter. You know, I spoke to her on Messenger a few times and just congratulated her basically. You know, when she made her AEW debut. But a lot of people have said that they'd love to see me and Jamie Hayter at it as well, or even me and Jamie Hayter as some sort of tag team. I've had so many people message me and be like, oh, if you get WWE, we want you to do something with Paige because you're both very similar. You have a very similar look. You know, that would be great. There's so many fan theories that people have messaged me about happening when I'm in the States. And I'm like, I don't even know who I'm wrestling yet.
Hey, and I think of it from a stance too as well. If you go against someone like Jamie Hayter or Jade Cargill, I know you're tearing their house down. And I mean, if we could get yourself and Nyla Rose, and I'll put that out there, you and Nyla would tear it down because Nyla's another one who's killing it. So I mean, the possibilities are endless here, Miss Amber Jo.
I would love to wrestle Nyla Rose. Absolutely. I would love to wrestle Nyla Rose or even Jamie Senegal.
The punk rock queen. Let me tell you something, man. Jamie Senegal did their thing at the Knockouts division, traded for Daphne, man. That's another one that a lot of people sleep on. Do not sleep on Jamie Senegal because she is putting in the work and she's doing fabulous.
Even Giselle Shaw. I've seen some of her stuff. She's absolutely amazing. You know, even like Deanna Purrazzo, I would love that too. Mickey James, just anyone.
I think
anyone.
First of all, that's a great attitude to have. Just take on everyone. And I mean, that's the thing that we have. And I mean, with what we just saw with AEW, with the Owen Hart tournament for the ladies with Britt Baker and Ruby Soho, and what we're seeing now with WWE and what we're seeing with Impact, the women's wrestling division and women's wrestling as a whole is bar none. And I mean, for women that paved the way for you guys, like Chyna, like Beth Phoenix, like the Trishas, the Litas, the Molly Hollies, the Victorias, it's one of those things where it's great to just see again the rise of the women and women like yourself, man. It's all here. It's a cohesive unit right here.
It's talking about Victoria. Like, I've been in contact with her quite a few times. She's a very, very nice lady. Very, very nice. And I mean, I wasn't expecting a reply from her, but I messaged her and I was like, oh, do you mind if I used your finishing move? Like, do you mind if I used
the Widow's
your move?
The Widow's Peak.
And yeah, and I was thinking of what I've called it then. And so she messaged back. She was like, "Oh my God, yeah, sure, I'd be honored." And I was like, "Wait, so Victoria herself has given me permission to use the finishing move? Like, hello." And so I was sending clips, as I was practicing it, and she was giving advice how to do it better, and how she does it. And then there was this one time I was like, oh no, I'm going to try something a bit different, and I'm going to get them into a gut wrench and then have them over. So my hands are literally hooked underneath their armpits and around their neck, giving them a bit more support up on my back and a bit more protection. And I delivered the move and I've showed it to her. She was like, yeah, so I prefer the way that you do it over my way. And just a lot of praise. And I was like, oh, wow. And I have been trying to pester her about, I've been trying to pester all of them about getting me on Gore TV.
Oh my goodness.
I'm probably so annoying. Like, I'm so annoying, but I'm a persistent and ambitious lady. I kind of know what I want, and I kind of know what can maybe help benefit me and benefit other people. So it's not, I don't just do these things for myself. I do them for, the other kids out there that are trans. I'm also autistic, so I have autism. And so my success is their success in general. It's to show that, hey, yeah, I'm trans and I have special needs, but I can still be me and follow my dreams. And that's like the message that I want to send out. And if I got onto Gore TV, that's a bigger platform that I can give my message to and be like, hey, it's okay that you have Down syndrome, that you're autistic, that you're trans, that you're gay, that you're lesbian, that you just have no sexuality or you have no gender identity. This is okay. And the fact that it's not a weakness, in fact, it's your own strength, because it helps you thrive to be yourself, to your authentic self. And in fact, that once you understand yourself, you can understand the world and how you see it. And so, you can reach your dreams. You've just got to put in that effort. You've got to, because I didn't sit at home, I was sitting at home being bored, wishing that I was a wrestler. It wasn't until I went out and I was like, I'm going to go do it. And I did it. And I've not let anything get in my way to stop me from achieving my dreams. And I want to see these people achieve their dreams. I have so many friends over here that are absolutely amazing. My friend Curtis, my friend Riley, my friend Sassy, my friend Billy. I've got so many friends over in the UK that I would love to just scoop up and bring to the USA with me and be like, now have a look at these. And so with Gore TV, I've been very pestering about getting on there. I've also been trying to pester her about coming to watch my show in New England. I don't think that's going well. I think I'm going to end up blocked. Before I started wrestling, I was blocked by Nyla Rose because I was just a fangirl.
Well, first off, I'm going to say right now, you're not annoying. You're not annoying at all. And I can tell because, again, the persistency and ambition, I mean, some people would equate that to annoying, but it's not. You just want to continue to learn. And I also look at it from a stance, too, as well. First of all, God TV is awesome. For those who've not checked out God TV, you should.
I love God TV.
It's great. You got Mickey James, you got Victoria, you got SoCal Val. Can't get any better. But what I also love about it too is as well, and here's what I like about you. Like, you're talking about, being like that inspiration for trans, non-binary, what have you, and being autistic. There's a lot of people out there with disabilities and wrestling and disabilities that do have it, but it doesn't let you stop where you are. And I think that's a great message that you're entailing to, because a lot of people can resonate with that. And I think in the day and age of mental health and what we have here, you're just showcasing your strength internally and externally. And I think a lot of people should adhere to that.
Yeah, it's you don't let what people think is your weakness be your downfall. It's your strength. Being autistic, I learn things very quickly. I pick things up rather quickly. We are very intelligent, and that's scientifically proven that we are very, very intelligent. I also have Asperger's. There are many big-time celebrities with Asperger's. There are many leading scientists with Asperger's. Isaac Newton, he had Asperger's. What's his name?
Which one?
He invented gravity.
Oh, yes.
Well, he didn't invent gravity. He discovered gravity.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Isaac Newton.
Isaac Newton, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, go
invented gravity.
Thank you. That's all right. I had to go back to my school days for a second thinking that. But yeah, no, that's what you can. I mean, when you look at people like Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, and famous scientists in general, we see, again, it's the evolution of what they've had into what we have now. But also at the same time, we're focusing more on stuff like with wrestling, how we found out more about CTE and concussions, how we're finding out more now about, the gender neutralities and stuff. It's important to know that stuff. And I think what's also interesting about it too, as well, it's more information for everybody, because not just in wrestling, I think you can agree with me on this. In life, we never stop learning. Doesn't matter how old we get. We never stop.
Even in wrestling, you never stop learning. I mean, you can be in this business for 40 years, but you'll always learn something new. And that's the beauty of wrestling.
And I think what's also great about it too is, and I'm gonna say right now, I love your name, the Notorious Angel. I think that is a badass name, and I think it's absolutely awesome. It fits the character and the overall how again the representation of your presentation. So I have to ask you because I love the name here, Amber, but the Notorious Angel. How did that stick with you? How did that name come into fruition? Because like I said, it's all in the name, Miss Amber Joe.
I'm a Christian. But I'm also like, I have my very gothic, edgy style. So, when people look at me and, I'm always in black, I've got dark makeup and black nails and, I'm covered in tattoos. People are like, oh. And when I'm like, I'm a Christian, people are like, wait, but you're very gothic. I'm like, yeah, it's just me. Like, and so I was always interested, so it was always going to be Angel no matter what. I was going to have Angel in it, but then I wanted to develop my character as like someone that could be loved and hated at the same time, so it doesn't matter if I'm heel or face, but I've still got that really bad attitude, that reputation, and so I was gonna call myself something else. I believe I was actually going to call myself the Apex Angel. And then one of my coaches turned around and was like, oh, no, you don't want that because, kind of like Batista and Randy Orton.
Yeah.
They're kind of, and I was like, oh, okay. And then it was like, oh, describe like your character. And I was like, well, very, I was like, oh, I wanted to be like this fallen angel type character. Obviously, not like Sonya Deville did in Tough Enough. But like, I wanted this fallen angel, like this beautiful woman who is descended from God, who has like the devil's attitude, who left basically heaven to, do her own thing. She doesn't let anyone control her. She doesn't care what people think of her. She knows what she wants and she won't stop until she gets it. And so we were playing around and my friend was like, my coach turned around and was like, oh, have you heard of the word notorious? I was like, no. And they were like, oh, yeah. So it's basically just meaning that it means someone that's famous for wrong reasons, for bad reasons. I was like, oh, right. And they went, and that's kind of falls into, the fallen angels like Lucifer. He's famous. He's very famous. He's very notorious for betraying God. And so I was like, notorious angel. And it just from there, it clicked. I mean, I got it on one of my gear. It's got Notorious written across my bum. It looks great. So it must be made for me.
Now, I will say this in popular culture for us in the States, the Notorious B.I.G., God rest his soul, in his song, Nope, Notorious. So we have stuff like that. And I mean, what's cool about it too is I can attest to someone who's Catholic. I get it from the religious side of things, and you also kind of incorporate that and do the whole thing like that. But what's cool about it too is, and again, I've seen the photos with your wings and all that stuff like that, again, it encompasses a character. What I love about it too is, and I'm going to say this about you, Miss Amber Joe, it's that gravitational pull. You want me to see more of the Notorious Angel Amber Joe. You want me to see more. I want to see more wrestling. I want to see the character. So you have that gravitational pull that could really bring people in.
Yeah, it's so like I was just mainly thinking about so when I first started, I was very just mindset on being like Paige, and this was like 5 years ago, and now I've kind of moved away. Like I've took inspiration obviously from her, but obviously I've developed things into my own. So now, like the Notorious Angel, she's very much, you look at her and you're like, oh, she's just another like Eva Marie, or she's like a Summer Rae, she's like a Trish Stratus. She's a very beautiful girl, and you're just like, she's just another pretty face. And then obviously, I take off my jacket and I flex, and we all know I got some muscle. I'm a pretty decent sized woman. I do like to flex. I flex a lot. My boyfriend hates it because I'll just look in the mirror and I'm like,
hey, if you got to flaunt it, right? If you got to flaunt it, you're proud of yourself.
Yeah. So like, take off the jacket, have a flex, and they're like, okay, she's not just a pretty face. This girl can fuck shit up. She can tear it up. You get in her face, she's gonna put you on your ass. That's it. And that's kind of like the vibe that I want to go for, like the very sexy, if I look at you, you're gonna want to fall in love with me. But knowing if you fall in love with me, it's the last thing you're going to do because it's going to be very dangerous. I'm a very dominant, and which is why I call myself the definition of dominance and beauty.
Love it. First of all, again, a lot of people can attest to that. And not only is it inspiring, but it's empowering. And also at the same time, too, and I've seen a lot of your intergender wrestling work, and I look at it from a stance, too, as well. We come from a day and age where in the 80s, we had Andy Kaufman from Saturday Night Live, who, was going against Jerry the King Lawler. They had the infamous storyline where Jerry Lawler broke his neck. It's kind of like a very comedy-esque, but as we move forward, and I mean, we see Lita did it a lot in the WWE when it was her and the Hardys against Test and Albert or Edge and Christian, what have you. Like, intergender wrestling is another form of professional wrestling. That's an art form in itself, but god dang, it's taken over from AAA, from Lucha Underground. Like, the intergender wrestling scene is amazing.
It's actually one of my favorite things to do.
I mean, not? Like, it's one of those things too as well for people, and I don't mean to cut you off, but for people who like kind of downtrodden, it's like, look at professional wrestling and training. Like, y'all are facing each other in training, and like it's nothing new. Go ahead.
It's not just that. It's also one of the first matches I ever watched was an intergender match, and it was between China, Kurt Angle, and Eddie Guerrero.
Oh my goodness, the classic. So,
it was for the Intercontinental Championship, and so that being one of the first matches that I've watched, and obviously I gravitated towards China because China and Beth Phoenix and Jordynne Grace, modern day. Jordynne Grace. I love Jordynne Grace. She's absolutely amazing. Her body is just pure goals for me. But like, that's kind of like the body that I want, that structure, that muscle, that dominance, that beauty that all three of them have. And so like, I literally just fell in love with China. And it's also like the reasons why I fell in love with China is because she wasn't like any other woman. She was a masculine, not masculine, but muscle-wise masculine is a term that we use in the UK. This muscle, this powerhouse, who looks like she can handle her own and, hang with the men. And that's also what gravitated me with Beth Phoenix. And obviously more modern now, Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace, she has some of the best intergender matches that I've seen. And it tells that story, it's believable because the size and power of her, I just fell in love with her.
You got someone like Thick Mama Pump who's taken on the likes of Brian Cage and has so many great intergender wrestling matches in her own right. Those are three great influence. I mean, you just mentioned early China from 2000 against Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero and Beth Phoenix. And I mean, when you have your name like the Glamazon, and we talked about internal and external beauty, they're one of those women that exemplify that, but also at the same time, you can kick your ass. So again, it's the intentionable that a lot of us get to see. Two rightful Hall of Famers, and Jordynne Grace in her own right down the line in the future will be a Hall of Famer in her own right. So I mean, it's a great mixture. So, I mean, I look at it from a stance too as well. You have that great mixture. And I got to say for you, Miss Amber Jo, coming to the States, doing your thing, I got to say once more, I can't wait to see what you do. And I'm going to put it right here now. The overture is here. Anytime you want to come back on the show, you're more than welcome. It's really been a blast to pick your brain and get to see what you've been doing.
I would absolutely love to come back. Maybe once I get signed.
Hey, you're more than welcome anytime. I look at it from a stance too as well, guys. If you are not following Miss Amber Jo on social media, and we'll get to that in a second here, but goddamn, man, not only are you just annoying, God, we've joked about that, but you're a pleasant follow, and you really are. We get to see a lot of your matches and a lot of what you're doing. So go out of your way to follow the Notorious Angel. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I have to say this as well. Promote the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Everybody can follow you. Go ahead.
So you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which is what I use the most, and that is the Amber Jo, so TheAmber, and then underscore JO, no underscore. Let me start that again. That I don't even know my own handle. That is at the Amber Joe, TheAmberJo, and then _ pro, PRO. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Also, may I also just add that if you are struggling, coming out, or you just want someone to talk to, my inboxes are very much always open. I have just helped out a young lady in America come out to her grandparents. So, if you want some advice or just someone to talk to, my inboxes are always open. So you have my social media links. Please follow and don't be afraid to give me a message. I don't bite unless it's a hot dog, because I like hot dogs.
I don't fight unless it's a hot dog. Okay, we got to talk about this. Hot dogs and handshakes, man. That's what it is. You give yourself a hot dog and all that stuff. I like it. I like your style, going from the hot dogs and you don't bite. Okay, so first of all, that's very important. And first of all, I love that you said that, because I think it's very important for those who are struggling and for those who want to come out. I think it's wonderful to have that, because there's a great support system. And I think in professional wrestling, we hear about the stuff from the politics and stuff, but this right here represents the good side of things with Miss Amber Joe. So again, kudos and positivity, because that's what we need in a lot of professional wrestling.
Oh, of course.
And as well, the links will be in the description for her Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And once more, guys, give her a follow. And also, are you on TikTok at all?
I don't really use TikTok.
Okay, fair enough. I just had to
like, TikTok and Facebook are kind of like my own personal things I use.
Understood. Yeah, well, that's the thing now with everything in social media. Everybody's got TikTok and everything. Now, there's more forms of social media out there. It's not just the basic 3 that we've been used to, right?
Yeah, sorry about that. It was me other half.
Oh, it's all right. No. Now, I will say this
We
is...
just cut him out. We don't need the camera tracking.
Oh, no, you're good. Now, folks, I will say this as well. Go out of your way once more to follow Amber Joe. Check out the new LFC website, lfcfights.com, and check out LFC Fights on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you get your social media platforms. And you can check out the LFC Network on Roku, where you can see such shows as Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, and you can see episodes with amazing people like this badass right here, this notorious angel, Miss Amber Joe. And Amber Joe, but do you have any final words for the LFC fans, the people tuning in for professional wrestling and just in general? Any final words on your behalf, ma'am?
I'm just getting started.
Check her out at Wrestle Queerdom. My goodness gracious, making it in the States. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see more of you. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for you, because I know it is certainly bright. And folks, to close this out, beauty, strength, and dominance, the 3 key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And Miss Amber Joe, I include you in those sentiments. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Fight, fight, fight.